There are people who leave because they do not love you. And then there are people who leave because loving you scared them so badly that they chose pride, silence, ambition, freedom, or fear instead. Those are the ones who haunt themselves later. They may walk away with a cold face, with a short message, with some convenient excuse about timing, distance, work, stress, confusion, or needing space. But years later, when life becomes quieter and the applause fades, they remember the person who once looked at them with complete devotion, and they realize they were not running from love. They were running from the version of themselves that love demanded. In astrology, some signs are more likely to break a heart not because they are cruel by nature, but because they are complicated in love. They can feel deeply and still act carelessly. These signs often regret slowly, not in one dramatic night, not always with a tearful confession, not always with a knock on the door in the rain. Their regret grows like ivy over the years. It appears when they compare every new lover to you. It appears when they see your happiness from a distance. It appears when they hear a song you once played in the car. It appears when they realize that someone else now gets the tenderness they took for granted. They may marry someone else, move cities, build a career, become successful, look perfectly fine on the outside, but some part of them keeps returning to the same question: what if I had stayed? And that is the most painful truth about these 5 zodiac signs. They often understand love only after they have wounded it. Gemini, May 21, June 20th. Gemini breaks hearts in a way that can feel almost unreal, because at first they make you believe you have finally found someone who understands every version of you. They talk to your mind, your humor, your secrets, your childhood wounds, your wildest dreams. With Gemini, love often begins like a movie scene at midnight: endless conversations, strange coincidences, laughter that turns into confession, messages that arrive exactly when you need them. They do not simply flirt, they awaken. They make you feel chosen by their curiosity, as if your soul is a fascinating book they cannot put down. But Gemini's shadow appears when love becomes serious. The same sign that once chased your thoughts may suddenly become afraid of the weight of your heart. When emotions stop being playful and start asking for consistency, Gemini can panic. They may disappear into busyness, jokes, mixed signals, or another connection that feels lighter because it does not ask anything difficult from them. They may tell themselves they are not ready, that the timing is wrong, that they need freedom, that they do not want to hurt you while hurting you exactly through their inability to choose. The saddest Gemini love story often looks like this. A woman gives them emotional safety they have never known. But instead of staying, they keep one foot out the door. They answer warmly one day and coldly the next. They pull her close with words, then push her away with absence. She keeps trying to understand which version of them is real, not knowing that both are real: the one who loves her and the one who is terrified of being trapped by the love they secretly crave. Years later, Gemini regrets what they dismissed as too intense. They meet people who entertain them, but few who truly see them. They find conversations, but not communion. They find chemistry, but not that rare feeling of being mentally naked and still accepted. That is when the regret begins. Gemini remembers the person who listened not only to their stories, but to the silence underneath them. They remember the one who could read their mood from a single sentence. They remember how they turned a real love into a guessing game. And here's the secret Gemini rarely admits. They may not always return, but they often keep checking. They look at old photos. They remember your phrases. They wonder whether you still think of them. They may even write a message and delete it several times, because Gemini can be brave with words everywhere except where their heart is truly exposed. Scorpio, October 23, November 21st. Scorpio does not break hearts casually. Scorpio breaks hearts like a storm breaking a window, intense, unforgettable, and leaving behind silence that feels haunted. When Scorpio loves, they do not love halfway. They study you. They sense your pain. They remember what you said months ago. They notice the tremble in your voice when everyone else hears only a normal sentence. Being loved by Scorpio can feel like being chosen by fate itself, because they make love feel private, sacred, dangerous, and impossible to replace. But Scorpio's wound is control. They fear betrayal so deeply that sometimes they test love until love becomes exhausted. They may hide their vulnerability behind suspicion, jealousy, emotional distance, or sudden coldness. They may love someone with terrifying depth and still push that person away just to see whether they will fight to stay. Scorpio can become so afraid of being abandoned that they create the abandonment themselves. Then, when the person finally leaves, Scorpio tells themselves, "I knew it. but deep inside, they know they helped destroy what they were trying to protect. A Scorpio love story often begins with destiny and ends with silence. Imagine someone who enters their life at the exact moment Scorpio has stopped believing in softness. This person does not play games. They are loyal. They are patient. They are willing to go into the dark rooms of Scorpio's heart and not run away. At first, Scorpio is mesmerized. Then they become frightened. Because real love gives Scorpio no place to hide. It sees the fear beneath the power, the tenderness beneath the intensity, the child beneath the armor. So Scorpio may wound first. They may accuse, withdraw, punish, disappear, or create emotional tests no human heart should have to pass. They may say something sharp that cannot be forgotten. They may make the other person feel guilty for loving them too openly. And when that person finally breaks, Scorpio may act cold, but inside something collapses. Scorpio is one of the signs most capable of lifelong regret because their memories are not light. They do not forget the emotional temperature of a room. They do not forget the eyes of someone they hurt. They do not forget the exact moment love turned away. Years later, Scorpio may appear transformed. They may become calmer, wiser, more spiritual, more controlled. But the person they destroyed through fear often becomes the ghost teacher of their life. Scorpio realizes that not everyone was there to betray them. Not everyone needed to be tested. Not everyone who loved them had a hidden knife. Some people were simply offering a home. And that is the regret that follows Scorpio for years. The realization that they were loved before they knew how to receive love without suspecting it. They may miss you in private, intensely, and wordlessly. Capricorn, December 20 to January 19. Capricorn can break your heart quietly, almost respectfully, and that is what makes it so painful. They may not scream, cheat dramatically, vanish in the middle of the night, or turn love into chaos. Capricorn often breaks a heart with logic. They explain, they justify, they say the timing is wrong, work is too demanding, the future is uncertain, responsibilities are heavy, feelings are complicated, or life is not that simple. And the terrible thing is that they can sound so reasonable while destroying someone who only wanted to be chosen. In the beginning, Capricorn love feels like safety. They are not always the most openly romantic, but they show love through effort, loyalty, protection, and quiet presence. They remember what you need. They fix things. They make plans. They try to become someone you can rely on. When Capricorn truly cares, they do not simply want to enjoy you, they want to build something with you. But their tragedy is that they often confuse emotional risk with weakness. They can love deeply and still choose what looks stable over what feels alive. A typical Capricorn love story goes like this. Someone enters their life and softens them in a way nobody expected. This person makes them laugh when they are exhausted. They see behind Capricorn's serious face. They understand the pressure Capricorn carries, the fear of failure, the old wounds that taught them not to need too much. For a while, Capricorn feels like they have finally found a place where they do not have to perform strength. Capricorn regrets slowly, but when regret comes, it cuts deep. They may spend years building the life they thought they wanted: a good job, a respectable home, an impressive reputation, a partner who makes sense. Yet in the middle of that carefully arranged life, they remember the person who made their soul breathe. They remember the one who did not care how successful they looked, only whether they were happy. They remember the hands that reached for them when they were tired of being strong. The secret Capricorn rarely admits is that they sometimes become most loyal after it is too late. Once they lose the person who truly loved them, they may carry that love like a hidden debt. They may never speak about it. They may never publicly collapse. But years later, when everyone thinks they are fine, Capricorn can still remember one missed call, one final conversation, one moment when they could have said, "Stay," but chose silence because pride and fear felt easier than surrender. Their regret is not noisy. It is not always dramatic. It is the regret of waking up beside the life they chose and wondering about the life they refused. It is seeing your name somewhere and feeling their chest tighten. Aquarius, January 20, February 18. Aquarius breaks hearts in the most confusing way because they can make you feel like the only person in the universe and then suddenly act as if emotion is a prison. Their love is strange, electric, unforgettable. They do not always follow traditional rules. They may not say the predictable things or behave like everyone else, but when Aquarius chooses you, they open a private world, unusual conversations, future dreams, intellectual intimacy, late-night honesty, laughter that feels almost rebellious. With Aquarius, Love often begins as friendship, fascination, or a feeling that the two of you are different from everyone else. They may show you their oddest thoughts, their hidden tenderness, their fears about life, society, freedom, meaning. They may make you believe you are not just their lover, but their witness. And that is why their distance hurts so badly. You do not only lose romance with Aquarius, you lose a universe you thought only you had access to. But Aquarius has a complicated relationship with emotional dependence. They can adore someone and still panic when the bond becomes too intimate. When love starts asking for consistency, reassurance, or ordinary daily tenderness, Aquarius may feel cornered. They may say they need space. They may become colder, more distracted, harder to reach. They may act as if your need for clarity is too heavy, too emotional, too traditional, too demanding. In truth, they are often frightened by the fact that someone has reached a place inside them they usually keep untouched. An Aquarius heartbreak may look like a person who loved you in ideas, dreams, music, messages, and secret moments but could not stand the earthly responsibilities of love. They may have stayed up all night discussing your future, then disappeared when that future required real decisions. They may have told you they had never met anyone like you, then treated you as if you were asking too much when you wanted commitment. They may have made you feel spiritually chosen but practically abandoned. Years later, Aquarius regrets differently from other signs. Their regret often begins with mental recognition. They understand, sometimes with painful clarity, that they were not being free, they were avoiding being known. They realize that the person they called too intense was actually the person who dared to love them fully. They realize that the connection they ran from was not trying to cage them. It was trying to give them somewhere safe to land. Aquarius may spend years searching for someone who excites their mind the same way. They meet people, they talk, they experiment, they start over, they convince themselves they are moving forward. But then they notice something. Many people can admire their originality, but not everyone can understand their loneliness. Many people can enjoy their brilliance, but not everyone can sit with their emotional contradictions. Many people can love their freedom, but not everyone can love the wounded person hiding behind it. That is when Aquarius remembers you. They remember how you accepted their strange moods. They remember how you listened when their thoughts jumped from one world to another. They remember that you did not try to make them ordinary. You only wanted them to be present. And that is the part they regret most, not that they lost someone who loved them, but that they lost someone who loved them without demanding they become less themselves. Aquarius may not always return with grand apologies. Sometimes they return through a message that looks casual but carries years of unfinished emotion. Pisces, February 19, March 20th. Pisces may be one of the most heartbreaking signs of all, because they often hurt people not with cruelty, but with confusion, weakness, escape, and beautiful promises they cannot always keep. Pisces can make love feel like a dream. They look at you as if you are poetry. They sense your sadness before you explain it. They romanticize tiny moments, a walk, a message, a song, a cup of coffee shared in silence. With Pisces, love can feel spiritual, destined, almost unreal. But the danger is hidden inside that same magic. Pisces sometimes loves the feeling of love more than the discipline of love. They can be sincere in the moment and still fail you later. They can cry, promise, return, disappear, apologize, dream, repeat. They may not mean to break your heart, but they can break it by being unable to stand firmly inside reality. They may escape into fantasy, another person, addiction to attention, victimhood, nostalgia, or silence. They may love you deeply and still not know how to choose you in a way that protects you. A Pisces heartbreak often begins like a fairy tale and ends like fog. They tell you you are different. They make you feel spiritually bonded. They may speak of fate, signs, dreams, past lives, the feeling that your souls recognized each other before your bodies did. And maybe they mean every word. But then life becomes complicated. Real love asks for honesty, boundaries, accountability, and courage. Pisces, overwhelmed by guilt or fear, may drift instead of decide. They might stay with someone else because leaving would hurt to many people. They might keep you emotionally close while never fully giving you a place in their life. They might promise that one day everything will change, while quietly letting months or years pass. They may break your heart not with one betrayal, but with 1,000 small postponements. You wait for them to become brave. They wait for destiny to make the decision for them. The tragedy is that Pisces often realizes too late that love is not only something you feel, it is something you protect. They may spend years remembering the person who believed in their better self, the one who saw their tenderness, their talent, their wounded heart, their hidden beauty, the one who kept forgiving them because Pisces always seemed so close to changing. And perhaps they did change eventually, but only after the person who inspired that change had already gone. Pisces' regret is emotional, almost oceanic. They do not simply remember, they relive. A smell, a street, a song, a season can pull them back into the love they lost. They may imagine conversations that never happened. They may dream of you. They may write letters they never send. They may create art, music, poetry, or quiet prayers out of the ache. Pisces is capable of turning lost love into a private religion. And here is the deepest secret. Pisces often regrets the person who loved them when they were still unfinished. Not the easiest love, not the most convenient love. The one who saw the chaos and stayed anyway. The one who said, "I know you are better than this," when Pisces did not know how to become better yet. That kind of love can haunt Pisces for a lifetime because it becomes proof that they were once offered something sacred and did not know how to hold it. Years later, Pisces may finally become the person you needed them to be. Softer, wiser, more honest, more grounded. But the cruel poetry of life is that they may become that person for someone else while still remembering that you were the one who awakened them. Their regret is not always about wanting the relationship back. Sometimes it is about understanding that you were the turning point, the lesson, the mirror, the almost miracle. Pisces may break your heart first because they are afraid of reality. Then they spend years regretting the dream they ruined with their own hesitation.
Hello everybody, hello my favorite subscribers. I'm happy to have you here. This is my channel and I believe you enjoyed this video, and please share with me your feedback, your thoughts. It's very important for me, and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your attention.